The human mind can be a very happy place, full of memories, thoughts of fantasy, and imagination. But sometimes, when the light subsides, a darker part of the mind begins to show. In the deepest depths of our mind lies an emotion that we cannot so easily control: fear. Fear climbs to what seems the highest point when darkness comes upon us. But there could be a deeper side to fear, something that we keep hidden.
Fear is powerful in its mystery. The terror within could cause us long-term distress. There are two distinct forms of fear: quick, powerful bursts and a persistent, weak fear. The quick bursts are the type of fear we experience when watching a scary movie or walking through a haunted house. It builds fast, then releases. Think of a jump scare. You're only terrified in the moment, for a split second. If that level of fear that you feel at the height of the jump scare was maintained for long periods of time, it could kill you, as the fear takes helm of all bodily functions. A pilot can handle severe G-forces, but not for long periods of time. The slow, constant fear is known medically as anxiety.
Every species on the earth experiences fear. Fear of another species, of another living being, or of themselves. But in the case for humans, because our minds are so complex, we are able to fear things that other species may not be able to comprehend, such as death, not enough time, or what lies in the never-ending darkness of our subconscious.
Alright, so one of the fears for me that was just talked about was death, actually. Like, that's something that I feared for, like, a long time, just because, like, I don't really know, or, like, nobody else really knows, like, what happens after that, because, like, nobody has ever been able to come back and, like, tell you what happened or what they experienced. So, like, I just don't know what to expect, whether it's, like, something's gonna happen or, like, I'm just gonna be floating through a black space. And, like, that was kind of something that I've always been afraid of, but, like, the way that I got over it, I guess, is I just kind of, like, faced it, I guess, and, like, realized that everybody has to go through it. And so I was like, once I figured that out, then I'm like, okay, it, like, doesn't really scare me that much anymore, because it's, like, inevitable. So, like, if you just accept it, then it's got better for me.
Fear can cause people to do irrational things. Fear causes a chain reaction in the brain that starts stressful stimuli and causes the release of chemicals that cause the heart to race and the muscles to energize and seize up. This is known as the fight or flight response. Usually when people are afraid, their decision making is blurred because of the speed at which things seem to be moving, causing them to speak a lot or too fast, and their muscles shake from the chemicals released in the brain.
Nightmares are one of the main contributors to people's fear, as you can't escape them. You may be able to prolong the need for rest, but eventually your eyes shut and the subconsciousness runs free. Nightmares can be the main causes of fear because of the terror you experience whilst in them. Have you ever had a terrible nightmare and not woken up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat? Nightmares are so terrifying because they are symbols of things happening in our waking lives. When we prepare to wake up, our memories begin to consolidate and integrate to prepare us for the day.
Fear plays a role with our emotions. It alerts our minds when there is a presence of danger. Fear also acts as a survival method. That's why when we watch horror movies, the victim is trying to run away. That is the body's response to dealing with something greater than ourselves. Oftentimes, fear is ongoing and caused by some sort of trauma. The human mind begins playing this experience over and over again in their minds because they feel like there is no escape from this twisted sense of reality. Many times when people experience the same fear repeatedly, then they can get acclimated to it. While repeated exposure may make a phobia worse, it is the only way to extinguish fear.
So actually going into the house wasn't the scary part. I feel like the scariness actually, or the fear actually hit us driving back when our friend actually took a screenshot of, we were FaceTiming her while we were at the house, and she took a screenshot. We actually found like a very scary, I guess, figure in the corner of the photo, which that's kind of what sparked the fear. But actually being in the house
wasn't super scary, it was more just cold.
Some fear comes on so great that it can lead to insanity. Something like the fear of death can be overwhelming, considering that it's eternal. The idea of floating in black darkness, infinite space, or just ceasing to exist. The subconscious cannot even comprehend non-existence, let alone not existing for the remainder of infinite time. Human beings are so entangled in their living day-to-day that when death creeps upon them, they are unprepared. Although fear can be scary, it doesn't have to control us. There are ways of working around it, but it's impossible to think clearly when our minds are flooded with fear and anxiety.
You can take your attention off of it by distracting yourself with things that you enjoy. Doing an activity that you love can take your mind off of fears.
Inevitably, we all must face our fears.
Facing your fears can be petrifying at first, but once you get familiar with it,